The movie starts in the year 1954. We see the soccer team relaxing during break time. Their coach comes in to motivate them, and to their advantage, the rain comes in the action. Adi, the founder of Adidas, walks in and makes their shoes. Adi's brother Rudy is sitting in the audience. The scene transitions into the year 1924. We see Adi running down a hill and making his shoes. He makes a black leathered sneaker and runs to test them. Later, he meets his brother in the car and they race. The big brother calls Adi to sit in the car, and after a while, he jumps in the passenger seat. Rudy leaves for his work, but Adi gets an idea. He removes a belt from Rudy's car and uses that belt in his shoe garage. His garage is out of electricity. Adi makes a cycle to power the bulb. But just then, Rudy walks in angry and asks Adi about his car belt. Adi asks if he had a bad day at work. But Rudy says they are right, you are a shoe freak, and throw a sneaker down. Adi picks up the sneaker and says you'll see. The scene changes and we see Rudy at a train station. On the platform, he sees a girl named Friedel checking him out and goes to meet them. While getting introduced, he runs into some of his colleagues. Rudy is uncomfortable with them. His colleagues instantly ask him about why he got fired from the job and calls him a freak just like his brother. Rudy quickly defends his brother. The man keeps going and says his brother leaves with his mom and makes running shoes that will be used by no one. Rudy has had enough and starts a fight but gets outnumbered. After the fight ends, Friedel comes to check Rudy. Back home, Adi is working on his sneakers, but he seems demotivated. Rudy comes in and Adi asks what happened to his face. Rudy says he can't live like this anymore. Adi asks if he also thinks he is a freak. Adi goes on to explain that his dream is to see the biggest athletes wearing his shoes. But he needs money and equipment to make the perfect shoe. Rudy says let us make something bigger by getting together. He says he will use his business skills to sell the shoes Adi has made. The next day, Rudy managed to get electricity to their location by convincing them that one day their company will be big and they will pay high taxes. The wire connection responsibility is given to Carl. Rudy asks Adi if he has a good suit to wear. They visit a bank for funding. The banker, however, is not fond of the shoes and says they are too thin. Adi tries to explain the thin material is for the athletes to feel the shoe and play better goals. After getting rejected, Rudy yells at Adi for acting harshly with the banker. Rudy sees Friedel and says Adi to take the train home. Rudy tries to compliment Friedel while driving. Friedel asks if he actually got fired. Rudy quickly says he has started his own shoe factory. After complimenting her physical appearance, he stops the car and kisses her. She stops the kiss and says they call him Puma because he messes up things. Rudy shows her the small factory he has started. Friedel also meets Adi in the factory. Jokingly, Rudy says she is her fiancée. Jokingly, Friedel says she will never marry him. In the next scene, we see Rudy and Friedel getting married. He even invited the banker to show how big the two brothers are. The banker and the two brothers play soccer with their shoes. The anchor makes a goal and loves the shoes. But he brings up the topic of Rudy getting fired. He says Rudy worked non-ethically and got fired. The brothers are certain they won't get any funding. But Rudy is optimistic and takes some shoes with him to the nearby athletes and sports center. He sells them one by one and everyone loves their shoes. They even post a hiring ad on the street. Soon, the company takes a huge leap with many people working. But Adi is not happy with the quality they are producing. Even Rudy is getting some complaints about the durability. Rudy goes to yell at Adi for experimenting too much and not focusing on durability. He says the shoes need to last more than a year and not break down after one run. Adi meets a girl named Kathy while swimming. They bond and have a swimming race. She admires the passion he has for his craft and their love journey begins. Adi, excited to introduce his love, goes to find his brother. Rudy and Friedel fall into the lake and Adi joins them to introduce Kathy. They meet and greet each other happily before the scene ends. Soon, Adi and Kathy get married. While dancing with someone, Friedel sees Rudy flirting with someone. She gets worried. She feels this even while sleeping. The brothers meet Nazi authorities and Adi finds out Rudy has made some sort of a promise to them. Friedel and Kathy talk and say how much their husbands are busy. Friedel suggests to Kathy that she should work in the company, so she does. One day, Kathy goes on a meeting with her and Friedel sees this and doesn't like what she saw. They are successful in the meeting and finally tell this news to Adi. Friedel seems jealous when Rudy picks up Kathy in joy. They say they brought a champagne for them, but Adi sees an opened bottle of champagne in the car. The brothers open a new factory and a home. They look around their personal area and enjoy their time. The sisters-in-law clearly have problems with each other. Their new sponsor is not taken well by Kathy. He looks at the business from a military perspective. While having breakfast, Kathy tells Audie that she is pregnant. The couple runs to tell Rudy and Friedel, who seem uncomfortable with the news but pretend to be happy. Later we see Rudy trying to seduce Kathy but she turns him down. But they are standing close and Friedel sees this. Friedel confronts Kathy, but Kathy comebacks saying Rudy is a bad guy who is playing with her heart. Later, we see Friedel telling Rudy that he should take some action because Audie is getting more popular than him. One day, the brothers are arguing over quality, and Kathy sides with Audie. Rudy yells at Kathy and says she is just a clerk. Audie warns Rudy about his language. The brothers also get into a heated argument. Audie wants to sponsor a rising athlete who is from another country, but Rudy says they can only support the athletes from their country. Without Rudy's permission, Audie goes to meet his choice for the athlete, who loves shoes as well. The athlete wins for gold medals, but this is noticed by everyone. Rudy and Audie get into a fight once again. Soon, they are told to shut down the factory and even their sponsor was fired. They meet a Nazi authority and try to convince him. But instead, they are told to make military shoes. Even their military shoes get rejected by the military. This means that the brothers will have to join the war. But it turns out that Audie was deferred and only Rudy has to go. The brothers again get into a fight. Rudy leaves for the war. At last, the war ends and Rudy comes home. But they have lost a lot of men. Rudy cries as he hugs his children. Later, the military comes to their factory because they think this factory was used to make rocket launchers. Audie tries to explain they were forced to do this. When the military doesn't believe them, Kathy shows the picture of an athlete who wore Audie's shoes. The military general finally believes them. But he uses their house as their headquarters. The two families adjust in one room. While eating, Rudy expresses his disappointment in Audie for not writing a single letter while he was fighting the war. They again start to fight over the quality of the shoes and the fact Audie was referred from the military. The US military afterward brings in Rudy for being a Nazi. They tell him someone testified against him for being a Nazi. Rudy thinks his brother Audie is trying to get rid of him. Soon, Audie is also brought for interrogation. Rudy has said some things about Audie as well. The two brothers at last are left free because they have done no harm. While eating, Rudy asks why Audie turned him out, but Audie explains that he didn't do anything. While arguing, Friedel says Horst is Rudy's kid. Rudy and Kathy had an affair and Horst is Rudy's kid. Kathy tries to explain but Rudy doesn't say anything. Kathy cries and runs after her son but he leaves. She tries to convince Audie but he leaves too. Audie and Rudy invite all the people and announce they are disbanding the company because the brothers have lost trust in each other. Everyone is shocked and have given a choice to either choose Audie or Rudy. However, Audie doesn't have any sales contacts as Rudy took everything. Carl gets the responsibility to work in the sales department. Kathy and Audie patch up and she decides to work again with Audie. Audie and Carl later go to see the difference between his and his brother's shoes. Their Audie using white paint creates 3 lines on his shoes to differentiate. Soon, Carl shows Audie that Rudy has stolen his ideas for the cleats. Audie says they should sue Puma was doing this, but just then Kathy walks in and shows the sue notice. Puma has sued Adidas for stealing their idea. Things get out of hand when Rudy goes for the national team. Audie rushes over to catch Rudy but they don't find him. While meeting the coach of the national team, Rudy disrespects him and says he doesn't want to give his shoes to a team that loses every match. The coach gets hurt by Rudy's statement and says they don't have a deal. Audie and Carl come home upset but they see the coach arriving in their factory. They meet and greet and the coach tells Audie he will need 1,000 shoes per month. Soon, we hear that Germany has reached the finales. The scene changes to the match and we see the coach giving a motivational speech to his players. Rudy comes into the stadium and the rain begins to pour down. Audie walks in with a smile and the coach tells him to put on the long cleats. The match begins and everyone has their hopes up. Rudy doesn't seem much happy. The Germans finally win the games, leaving Audie satisfied and Rudy upset. Everyone congratulates Audie for his shoes as Rudy leaves the stadium. Audie goes into the dressing room which is completely empty. He sees his shoemaking equipment and a note on it. Audie reads the writing which says, "Well done, little guy." Audie gets teary knowing his brother is still proud of him no matter what. The movie ends by saying the brothers reunited and their son expanded the two companies, making them the biggest sports gear producers. The companies are still located in the area where it all began 100 years ago.